Hello and a warm welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. And we begin on a sad note as President Muhammadu Buhari expressed deep sorrow over the loss of lives after fire engulfed a primary school in Niamey, Niger Republic, killing more than 20 children. In a message to President Mohamed Bazoum, the government and people of Nigeria's northern neighboring country, President Buhari described the fire incident leading to the death of mostly 3- to 5-year-olds as heart-wrenching and extremely horrific. The president also said the thoughts and prayers of Nigerians are with the victims, families and communities affected by these unfortunate incidents, while wishing quick recovery to those who were injured. Now, after more than 40 years, Nigeria has reactivated the transportation of goods between the northern and southern parts of the country by rail. At the flag of the commencement of freight services at the Warri-Itakwe standard gauge rail line by the Minister of Transportation, Chibike Rotimi Amechi, it was described as a landmark achievement by this administration. Oyinaya Kaluoka reports.
For years, Nigeria has been battling with the challenges of transporting goods across the country. Records show that it takes about 10 to 12 days, costing more than 500,000 naira averagely to transport goods from the south to the north. With this flag off, this now marks the opening of the rail line for cargo and goods movement in Nigeria. And with these 16 wagons of 96 gas pipes taking off from Warri in Delta State down to Itakwe in Kogi State, it will take just about 6 hours. Compare the time and the money saved when this is being moved by road. Truck movement will be minimized on the highways as this particular movement of 96 gas pipes by 16 wagons is equal to about 32 trailers off the roads.
The traders in Nigeria will no longer have challenge of issue of delayed.
It's going to boost the economy of this place.
Minister of Transportation Chibike Rotimi Amechi said the haulage services by rail will be extended to other states.
You need to cooperate with the federal government. You need to cooperate even with the oil companies.
The development and modernization of the railway transportation has been a major focus of the federal government of Nigeria.
And at the same time, we are moving water pipes on this line on the narrow gauge from Eputemeta Junction to Zaria. And we have an offer about 1.8 million metric tons from flour mill, which we are working on.
The Itakwe-Warri rail line linking 3 states of Kogi, Edo and Delta State was originally designed for the transportation of iron ore, but redesigned to provide passenger service. Oyinaya Kaluoka, NTA News.
The federal government says young entrepreneurs will be provided with unfettered access to latest technology and telecommunication services to explore business opportunities in digital economy to reduce unemployment and strengthen the economy. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo said this via virtual presentation at the inauguration of the Ogun State Digital Economy Infrastructure Project in Abeokuta. Lekon Agbonde reports.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, in his virtual presentation, says technology is the future of all aspects of human existence, which include business, education, healthcare, governance, security, among others. He commended Ogun State government for the initiative and being the state in Nigeria that has taken the leadership position in technology through massive investment in digital infrastructure.
This project is a critical component of Mr. President's objective of broadband connectivity for all by 2023. This ambition, as you know, is now enshrined in our economic sustainability plan.
For the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, who was represented, the federal government is poised at exploring abundant advantages in ICT to attract more business opportunities.
A recent report by SAP Center for Business Insight and Oxford Economics shows that 80% of the institutions that adopted digital economies were able to generate more revenue and block leakages.
The state digital economy infrastructure project is to formally deepen the various advantages of ICT advancement into all sectors and making ICT one indispensable point of our economy.
It's expected that the infrastructure will provide ICT services to educational institutions, economic strategic centers, homes and offices in the state through cyber optic network and broadband connectivity services. In Abuja, Lekon Agbonde, NTA News.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyama, and the Managing Director of the Nigerian Film Corporation, Dr. Chidia Maduakwe, are collaborating to attract foreign investors to Nigeria. This is sequel to the success of the film industry at the moment, which makes Nigeria second in the world, just with only France's bilateral agreement supporting Nigeria's creative industry. They say the lucrative venture in the film industry will help youths in the country be self-reliant just as they gain global prosperity.
We know what the film industry and other cultural industries contribute to America's GDP and India's as well. So that's absolutely the way to go. And we're looking at job creation and so many other things.
With this one relationship with France, the Nigerian film industry is experiencing a mega boost. And imagine if we had up to 14 collaborating relationships with other countries like they do in South Africa.
They say Nigeria's diverse culture will make it more attractive to the world if the major players in the industry project the good image of the people in performances such as music and plays. Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji Fashola, has cleared the air on claims made in a petition written on behalf of the Redeemed Christian Church of God on alleged payments to a construction company over the construction of Ife-Wari Road in Osun State. He made his submission while testifying before the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions. Dayo Ogunshola reports.
Testifying before the committee, the Minister of Works says the two payments made to the contractor were made legitimately 4 years before the life of the current administration. The minister observed that the road in question belongs to Osun State government, but intervention of federal government came because the project was initiated by a member of the National Assembly at the point in time.
That the ministry has acted at all times in accordance with its statutory mandate and is not liable to the petitioner. We are urging you to also hold that there is no proof to support the position that an unjust claim was made by the contractor or paid by the ministry.
The Redeemed Church of God, through a petitioner, had alleged that the Katil Construction Nigeria Limited had been paid 151 million naira by the federal government for a road it rehabilitated as a corporate social responsibility.
The intention is not to embarrass the government or to embarrass the Ministry of Works. After commencement of the road construction of the road by the Christian Church of God, if there were no information of further payments, I don't think they would have brought that petition.
You can't collect public funds and your job is not done and you go home, or you go and trade with our money, you say it doesn't hear English, but you understood how to collect our naira.
The committee commended the Ministry of Works and Housing for due diligence. From the National Assembly, Dayo Ogunshola, NTA News.
Based on its quest to conduct a transparent general census, the National Population Commission has kept engaging its personnel and building their capacity with pre-exercises towards delivering a credible head and housing count. The latest of the exercise is a first pre-test training of trainers workshop organized by the Commission Census Department in Abuja. Olusheye Adiagbo has the details.
This is what we were using before.
A new census by the National Population Commission will be a transition from the use of paper questionnaires to that of personal digital assistant (PDA), a new mode of data capturing. This workshop will broaden participants' horizon as regards finalizing data collection instruments and developing a pre-test software towards achieving an exercise consequently.
We want to test our methodology. We want to test the instruments we are taking out to the field to capture data.
What we require is that people should support us. When our enumerators goes to the field, they should give them the correct information.
Chairman of the Commission, Nasser Isakwara, said 112 local government areas across the 36 states and the FCT have already been selected in the first phase of the exercise.
The Commission will leave no stone unturned in order to ensure that the pre-test for the next census is carried out meticulously, professionally, and scientifically in order to provide the basis for the smooth conduct of the next census.
The Commission has assured of strict compliance with COVID-19 protocols during the pre-test fieldwork between April 27 and May 4, 2021. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
The Nigerian Copyright Commission has inducted 15 winners of the World Intellectual Property Organization in the National Intellectual Property Essay Competition as copyright ambassadors. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports.
A 500-level law student of University of Nigeria, Enugu campus, 24-year-old Susan Chioma Ome, emerged the overall winner among the 15 successful students of the National Intellectual Property Essay Competition. 262 entries were received from across Nigerian tertiary institutions.
There are IP clubs in universities. I mean, it's something we can start, and then from there we build ambassadors that can go to secondary schools, primary schools, and tell children that, oh, if you create this, then you can actually protect it. Someone else should not take from it without your permission.
26th of April annually, the World Intellectual Property Organization gives students of tertiary institutions in Nigeria opportunities to explore the intellectual property knowledge aimed at making them vibrant and committed innovators and entrepreneurs towards bringing turnaround in the socio-economic sector. The Nigerian Copyright Commission is collaborating with Nigerian tertiary institutions in the intellectual knowledge drive to make inputs and provide required support in making the system work.
As copyright ambassadors, we will be sending you to your institutions and to the larger world to propagate copyright knowledge and propagate IP knowledge for the good of Nigeria and for the benefit of humanity.
One of the things we wanted to do through the competition was to create an opportunity to help them to grow.
For Susan and other copyright ambassadors, it is hoped that technological development can guarantee return of investment in the copyright industry. In Abuja, Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
For more on Nationwide, let's join Kehinde at DBC in Lagos. Hello, Kehinde.
Hello, Ifoma, and welcome to Lagos. 25 property owners, tenants, and business owners have received a varying monetary compensation as work commenced on the Lagos-Abril mass transit. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu presented checks to the affected persons after flagging off a civil works on the Red Line Rail project in Lagos. Musa Tolet has the details.
25 out of the total number of 2,341 identified property owners, Tenants and business owners received their checks at the groundbreaking ceremony, which signals the commencement of civil works on the Red Line Rail project.
We didn't expect as much as this. Ordinarily, we have valued the property ahead of the compensation, but what we got is very near to what we expected.
We thank Lagos State Governor for what compensate people for this project.
So the program will be obviously for the design, construction, and passenger operations, and we intend for the passenger operations to commence the last quarter of 2022.
The 37-kilometer Lagos Rail Mass Transit project will share rail tracks with the federal government's standard gauge rail line and is expected to be delivered in 3 phases. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says the rail line will connect Oyingbo to Agbado in the first phase, while the second phase will integrate the Blue Line, water transportation, and bus interchange in Marina. The level crossings on rail tracks will also give way to vehicle overpasses and pedestrian bridges to be constructed by the federal government in Jibowu, Ilupeju, Shogunle, Koka, and Agbado.
Our choices for an integrated transportation system is clear and is crystal clear. We will continue to search for every available means of funding for our transportation infrastructure to ensure that the deadlines of our 2020 last quarter and our first quarter 2023 becomes a reality.
Governor Sanwo-Olu, however, appealed to Lagosians to persevere as the coming days would see traffic diversions in some parts of the state when works on the project commence. In Lagos, Musa Toliad, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association has inaugurated a mega shopping complex with more than 300 shops in Ojo Cantonment, Lagos. Diana Ajala reports that aside enhancing business activities, the complex would also encourage entrepreneurial skills. The reports.
The project, with 170 open stores for petty traders and 150 lock-up shops with modern facilities, was initiated by former NAOA president to create a befitting business arena for all, especially for those living within the barracks.
We have numerous programs lined up for women in the barracks. 3 of them specifically. One is the Waste to Wealth program, where we're looking at how to convert the waste in the barracks to useful items.
The cited members of the NAOA who were privileged to meet their new national president, Fati Atahiru, went home with gift items. She and her team also visited the Nigerian Army 81 Division headquarters in Lagos, where they were engaged in an interactive section with the General Officer Commanding Major General Lawrence Fejoku.
Must think out of the box, look for very unorthodox ways of getting our problem solved. Important thing is to get it solved. So it's really, really heartwarming to know that not only are you thinking in that line, but that you have started putting things in place.
The NAOA president pledged to do more on women and youth empowerment and assist in catering for both physical and mental well-being of Army personnel and their dependents. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. The news continues after this timeout. Don't go away.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now, if a media organization struggles to pay salary or finds it difficult to effectively run the organization, definitely it is either advertisers are not paying or owners are not diligent. This was the consensus by stakeholders at the signing of a memorandum of understanding on debt servicing between regulators of media outfits in Nigeria. Adebola Brookslyn Sunday reports.
Broadcasting Commission (NBC) and Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria (APCON) are major regulators of broadcast and advertising agencies in Nigeria. Records show that dwindling revenue, unpaid advertisements are the leading cause of debts owed regulators by practitioners. This memorandum of understanding is a directive of the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed.
We hope that, when this works, some of those burdens will have been lifted, and then we can see a corresponding increase in levels of compliance and professionalism in the industry.
The Minister has approved that
larger forum where we will sit and discuss the framework so that we can be clear that it's a cause that will enhance the survival of broadcasters in Nigeria.
APCON Registrar Olalekan Fadolapo told me the debt owed his agency is about 1 billion naira. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
An action plan on the elimination of child labor in Nigeria has been launched. Ngozi Silva Technical reports on the content of the document.
Some children between the ages of 11 to 15 are into activities not befitting their age. For instance, mining and street hawking. Such activities spell a bleak future for the child and increases their vulnerability to social vices. The launch of this policy and action plan is a holistic approach, primarily to address these social menace and create a promising future for the Nigerian child.
Child labor is evil and is unacceptable. Every child has the right to education and to live in a very conducive home. I believe that the impact of the actions to accelerate child labor elimination, especially the validation of the National Action Plan, will help to fast-track progress towards achieving the SDG target to eliminate child labor by 2025.
With this validation, the document will be a manual, as it were, in successfully implementing the Sustainable Development Goal number 8.
I join all our stakeholders and members of the National Steering Committee on Child Labor to translate our commitment to concrete action. This is the only way forward towards the achievement of the SDG target.
The Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment and International Labour Organization are keeping eagle's eye on those engaging in child abuse, and the relevant sections of the document will be applied for the battle. Ngozi Silva Technical, NTA News.
Now turn our attention to security matters. The military has lamented the killing of soldiers in Benue State and vowed not to be deterred by the incident in carrying out its constitutional mandate of securing lives and property of Nigerians. The Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, said this while he led other security chiefs on a visit to Governor Samuel Otom. Charles Abba reports.
The Minister of Defense said the Nigerian armed forces are deeply saddened and disappointed by the killing of soldiers in Constitutional Local Government Area, Benue State, on April 5, 2021, describing the incident as unwarranted. The minister, who also expressed President Muhammad Buhari's displeasure over the killing of the soldiers, said barbarism and anything that tries to make Nigeria ungovernable would not be accepted. He stated that for the morale of the soldiers to be restored, perpetrators of the dastardly act must be apprehended and made to face the wrath of the law.
Having seen the situation, we felt before we do any other thing, we need to come to talk to our soldiers, to appeal to them, to give them the sign of confidence that this work can be done, and this work in the process we can tolerate one another.
And when we wonder, the same security that were out to protect all of us fell in the hands of these bandits. If not for their commitment and patriotism, I know that they work under harsh conditions and difficult times to ensure that we sleep here in Benue State.
He pledged his administration's support and cooperation with security agencies to ensure those responsible for this dastardly act were apprehended and brought to justice, and prayed for the restoration of peace and security in all parts of the country. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army will not relent in providing complementary services towards improving internal security in the country. The General Officer commanding 2 Division of the Nigerian Army, Ibadan, Gold Chibuisi, gave the commitment during a visit to the Governor of Osun State, Boyega Oyetola, for a renewed synergy with the state in combating crime and criminality. Joshua Ogunjide reports.
It is no news that criminal activities such as kidnapping, banditry, and illegal mining have been experienced in Osun State in recent past. This necessitated the visit by the delegation of the Nigerian Army led by the new General Officer commanding 2 Mechanized Division Ibadan, Major General Gold Chibuisi, to the Governor of Osun State, Boyega Oyetola. It is believed that the new order, under the leadership of the new Chief of Army Staff, Major General Ibrahim Atairu, is on track towards repositioning the Nigerian Army and complementing the efforts of the Nigerian police in combating insecurity, as well as reorientation of army personnel.
We are reorientating our soldiers, we are reorientating our personnel to be able to discharge their duties professionally, efficiently, and in accordance with the rules of engagement and respect for human rights and other international norms.
While appreciating the Nigerian Army for its all-time readiness to answer the call of the state, Governor Boyega Oyetola was swift to request for more assistance in flushing out perpetrators of criminal activities in the state.
Particularly now that the mining in Safara has been banned, naturally the people, there will always be serious influx of these illegal miners to the state, and that creates a level of insecurity. So we need assistance in that direction.
The delegation of the Nigerian Immigration Service, led by Assistant Controller Immigration and Zonal Coordinator Southwest Zone F, Dora Amahian, had sought the logistics support of the Osun State government in its operations, particularly illegal migration and mining in the state.
And the Nigerian Navy has taken delivery of its first ever purpose-built survey vessel, NNS Lana, in France. The vessel is to serve as a replacement for one which was decommissioned 10 years ago. Defense correspondent Naja Atutijani reports.
3 hearty chairs on the decks of NNS Lana, Nigeria's hydrological survey vessel, in an elaborate ceremony known as the Change of Flag, which marks her readiness to embark on her maiden homebound voyage to Nigeria. Represented by the Chief of Naval Staff, the Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, says NNS Lana, built in France by a reputable company which has built 18 Nigerian Navy vessels, will enhance the maritime security of Nigeria.
The Nigerian Navy and indeed the global seafaring community look forward to the services of this masterpiece as she begins her voyage into the seas.
Formally handing over the vessel to Nigeria, the representative of the French Navy, Vice Admiral Olivier Lebas, agrees it will further enhance diplomatic ties between both countries.
France and Nigeria are committed together to provide a dissuasive presence in the Gulf of Guinea and to develop common operational skills.
The ship has an automatic weather station, wet and dry laboratories, scientific and technical workshops, as well as operating and processing rooms for surveying data. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
Time to join Kemi in our Ibadan Network Center for more nationwide from that end. Good to see you, Kemi.
Ifoma, good to see you too, and a warm welcome to Ibadan. Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has asked the federal government and relevant stakeholders to tackle the deteriorating state of security in the country. Governor Zulum stated these when he visited the Oyo State Governor at the Agodi Government House, Ibadan. Ayomiko Ajibola has details.
Expressing concern over cases of kidnapping and banditry in some parts of the country, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum said leadership responsibility under insurgency situation is a daunting task that requires trust and commitment, commending the effort of Governor Seyi Makinde's administration aimed at uplifting the quality of life of its citizen. Governor Zulum used the occasion to commiserate with the Oyo State Governor over the Shasha market crisis and the recent fire incident at the popular Araromi Auto Spare Parts Market at Agodi Gate.
Ibadan was a very peaceful
city, and I think this has to continue. The state and non-state actors should also be very careful, because when the chips are down, the masses will suffer.
Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, who could not but agreed with his Borno State counterpart on the issue of insecurity in the country, said there is need to put more effort in tackling the menace.
The only thing that we need is for us as leaders to come together.
The Borno State Governor was accompanied by Kwara State Governor Abrazak Abdurrahman, former Governor of Borno State Kashim Shettima, Senator Ali Undome, Speaker Borno State House of Assembly, among others. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Members of the public have been urged to desist from any act that could lead to fire outbreak in their environment. Controller General Federal Fire Service Dr. Liman Ibrahim gave the advice when he paid an on-the-spot assessment to the recently raised Araromi Auto Spare Parts Market in Ibadan. Correspondent Shola Wahid completes the report.
The recent fire outbreaks that occurred at the spare parts and Beremu markets in Ibadan is taking its toll on people whose shops and goods were burnt, resulting in loss of property worth several millions of naira. Controller General Fire Services Dr. Liman Ibrahim stressed that the causes of fire outbreak are the same everywhere, emphasizing that the peculiarity in mitigating the occurrence and accessibility to fire disaster scenes should be addressed.
If you encourage people to sleep in market, anything can happen. Because at the time you are boiling or cooking or ironing, they took light. And when they take light and you leave it, you didn't off the switch. By the time the light comes, what's happened?
He seized the opportunity to address trade leaders on the importance of keeping the marketplaces safe from further fire outbreaks.
We appeal to the state government to make sure that all the fire stations have vehicle because of emergency.
The Controller General also used the medium to address fire officers of the state and federal commands on the need to be alert and dedicated to their duties at all times. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. It's back to Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Kemi. Now, the Nigerian army says Damasak in Borno State is not under siege by Boko Haram. A statement by the Director, Army Public Relations, Brigadier General Muhammad Yerima, notes that contrary to false media reports, terrorists attacked the town but were rapidly repelled by troops. The Director, Army Public Relations, stressed that troops are in total control of the area and enjoined residents of Damasak and adjoining communities to remain calm as mob operation is ongoing to flush out the remnants of the terrorists that attacked a section of the town. The All Progressives Congress has expressed joy on the return of President Muhammadu Buhari, Commander-in-Chief of the country, National Secretary, Caretaker, and Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the All Progressives Congress, John James Akpanu Doedehe, in a statement said the president is undoubtedly re-energized and recommitted to executing the lofty developmental objectives of the APC-led administration. The APC prayed for Mr. President's continued good health and wisdom to pilot the nation's affairs and achieve the next level agenda to uplift Nigerians. Ahead of the 2023 general elections, the Independent National Electoral Commission is working out modalities to expand voters' access by relocating existing voting points, settlements, and designate them as new polling units. Niger State INEC Resident Electoral Commissioner Professor Samuel Egu at a stakeholders meeting in Mina, Niger State, said the effort is to make electoral process more convenient for eligible voters. Suleiman Kodogi reports.
5 years on, while the number of polling units remains static, the figure of eligible voters have continued to increase exponentially and now pegged to about 90 million. This meeting is therefore organized for heads of security agencies and that of media organizations, representatives of religion and political parties who have direct bearing on INEC's policy of decongesting and making polling units a safe haven ahead of 2023 general elections.
We are not creating new polling units, but we are expanding voter access to polling units by relocating existing voting points to places that will be near voters to reduce the amount of distance they have to cover on election day, to reduce congestion and fasten the process of voting, and in the end, encourage more voters to come out.
The Commission also reiterated that voters' registration is expected to commence 28th of June this year. In Mina, Suleiman Kodogi, NTA News.
And Mohammed Ibrahim is standing by in our Maiduguri Network Center with trending stories. Over to you, Mohammed.
Thank you, Ifoma, and welcome to Maiduguri, the Borno State capital. Northeast Development Commission (NEDC) says activities of insurgents will not deter the Commission from discharging its core mandate of reviving the region and supporting state government towards ensuring return of civil authorities and IDPs to their respective domains. Managing Director of the Commission, Mohammed Alkali Goni, stated this shortly after a closed-door interface with Governor Babagana Umar Zulum at the Government House, Maiduguri. Yagum Subukar reports.
The Northeast Development Commission (NEDC) is a strategic player in fast-tracking the reconstruction, rehabilitation and resettlement drive, as well as overall development of the zone. The Commission's meeting with the Chief Security Officer of the state was with a view to brainstorming to arrive at durable solutions to the contemporary security challenges in the recovery projects for sustainable development. During the meeting, humanitarian issues in the polity and building resilience to give new leads of life to the people, particularly victims of conflicts, were discussed. According to the Managing Director, NEDC, Mohammed Goni Alkali, the closed-door Professor Babagana Umar Zulum was a response to the recent unfortunate attack by insurgents on Damasak town in Mobile local government.
Came here, first of all, to commiserate with him and also see how we can, as a commission as well as government, can synergize to provide Sanko to what has happened in that town as well as other parts of the state.
The Managing Director noted that the Commission will continue to sustain synergy with the state government in providing livelihood support, rebuild destroyed structures, and give a sense of belonging to those affected. In Maiduguri, Yagum Subukar, NTA News.
Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED-Fund, is determined to make more impact on education, as it has so far expended 150 billion naira for the training and development of staff in higher institutions across Nigeria. Chairman Board of Trustees, TED-Fund, Kashim Ibrahim Imam, made this known while visiting higher institutions in Borno and Yobe states. Pauline Kujavana has details.
This is the second visit to Borno and Yobe states within 2 months by the Chairman Board of Trustees, Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TED-Fund, Kashim Ibrahim Imam. He was back to compare records to ascertain true financial transaction for the training and development of academic and non-academic staff of higher institutions of learning from 2015 to date. The Chairman TED-Fund Board of Trustees, Kashim Ibrahim Imam, and Director Staff Training, Sani Suleiman, made known categories of training and development programs within and outside Nigeria, sponsored by TED-Fund, saying 68,000 staff have so far benefited across the country.
We are just there as an intervention agency to give additional support. We cannot supplant.
We need to look back and see what really transpired. Is this investment worth doing? Shall we continue like this? Or what do we do to change the narrative?
In all the 9 higher institutions in Borno and Yobe states, the vice chancellors, rectors, and provosts thanked TED-Fund for being the life wire of the schools and requested for more interventions in other areas of need. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujavana, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Maiduguri, and it's time for another break, after which Nationwide will continue with.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 80 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. In the latest figures released by the center, Lagos has 29 new infections, Rivers 19, Zamfara 6, while Akwa Ibom, Edo, Osun, and Plateau states have 4 new infections each. Others are Ogun and Kano states that recorded 3 new infections, and Nasarawa with 2. The death tally is completed by FCT and Oyo with 1 new infection each. Nigeria now has 164,080 confirmed cases of COVID-19, out of which 154,285 were treated and discharged, while 2,061 persons died of the virus. While health experts are insisting on the administration of the 2 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine as a measure to boost immunity against coronavirus infection, there is, however, a growing level of anxiety amongst people who have had the first jab over the non-commencement of the second dose of the vaccine. Abdul Malik Hassan tells us more.
Femi Okiowo is a judiciary correspondent with the NTA. Like many others, he has received his first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine, but expresses fear over the second dose, as those who had theirs are yet to be administered a second dose.
I'm now being told that there is a possibility of not having the second dose, either there's a shortage or something, but whether that or not, I don't know what the medical implication is if you take the first dose without the second dose.
Is Femi's fear over a second dose necessary?
If you don't take the complete dose, it means that the memory B cells have not actually been properly, primed. So it is, possible that since it has not been fully, primed, either it will work only for a shorter period.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, however, suits the fear of the likes of Femi, as it explains that the federal government is topping its strategies to ensure the country is not adversely affected by the drop in the global supply of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine, and will ensure even distribution among Nigerians.
So it's pretty simple. We're going to be replicating what we've done in the first phase. So the first doses, the same types of communication, the same types of strategies, what we're going to be employing even for the second doses. So we're mindful of the fact that we have to give this second dose in accordance to what the World Health Organization has guided.
With these, Femi Okiowo and others who have same doubt will not only sigh a relief, but also look forward to a second dose to get fortified against COVID-19. In Abuja, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
The current outbreak of a highly pathogenic avian influenza H5N1 strain has so far ravaged 40 poultry farms in Kano State, leading to the depopulation of more than 200,000 chickens worth millions of naira. Elizabeth Yila Lamido visited some of the already decontaminated farms and reports on the prevailing situation in the states.
The outbreak of the pathogenic avian influenza virus H5N1 strain has continued to be of great concern, with the number of cases on the increase despite interventions.
As an umbrella body, all we keep saying is people should apply full biosecurities in their farms. Biosecurity is protecting the farm from external and internal diseases.
Ibrahim Abba Badamasi is among the farmers worst hit by the flu, losing thousands of chickens, hence incurring heavy loss on his investments, put at millions of naira.
On that day, my manager called me and told me that he saw 5 birds dead. The number started increasing.
Poultry farms are expected to have a distance of 250 meters to 300 meters. However, in this particular location, most of the farms are clustered in one area, which could be a factor that caused the flu to spread at an exponential rate. From Kano, Elizabeth Yilalamido, NTA News.
More than 50 people are currently placed on dialysis following consumption of hydroxylamine sulfate, which they mistook for ascorbic acid, referred to as ansami, the local language and commonly used for sarin porridge and other local drinks, among others. Yahanasu Hassan Barrow, who had an encounter with some of the victims, also reports that a post-mortem has revealed that 10 persons have lost their lives as a result.
An end is yet to be heard of the outbreak of a strange illness in Kano, with more than 500 people that reported symptoms of toxic neuropathy, including fever,
nausea, vomiting, and hematuria. Abasharu is among the survivors. He battles various health complications and so far placed on dialysis 3 times.
Eat nothing, but now I will eat. I will go somewhere and buy some medicine.
Although unaware of what he consumed that resulted to his illness, laboratory results, according to medical expert, reveals consumption of hydroxylamine sulfate, a chemical used in tanneries.
The chemical was sold as Densami. Unfortunately, it's not Densami. It's not even a food-grade chemical. It's not fit for human consumption.
The thing that we now are beginning to see is that people are being affected, their kidneys are being affected. At the moment I'm speaking with you, in one facility alone, we've dialyzed over 50 people.
Increase in the number of cases necessitated authorities concerned to take more proactive measures through mobilization of environmental health workers to various markets where they confiscated suspected chemicals and expired consumables which were burnt to prevent circulations. In a similar development, people have been cautioned to be mindful of what they consume, especially fruits ripened with calcium carbide, which is a causative agent of cancer. In Kanu, Yahana Sambaro, NTA News.
Nigeria is seeking a sustained collective security and humanitarian actions towards ensuring peace and stability in the Lake Chad Basin region to improve the well-being of the communities in the area. The Chairman, Council of Ministers and Nigeria's Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, put Nigeria's position before the Council at its 66th ordinary session held virtually. Kevin Ebonaye reports.
The Lake Chad Basin Commission is pursuing a regional strategy for stabilization, recovery and resilience mechanism for Boko Haram-affected communities in the region. At the core of this strategy is tackling insecurity, humanitarian interventions and youth employment. But the initiatives have been slowed down by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, which has hit hard on the resources available to the Commission. But Nigeria is asking member countries not to take their eyes off the ultimate goal, because the survival of the Lake Chad Basin is essential to addressing worsening poverty, health and environmental challenges in the region.
This meeting provides us with a platform to propose new measures and steps to accelerate the implementation of all beneficial initiatives for the improvement of the living conditions of the people of the area.
The session also reviewed the financial status of the Commission and asked the governments of member countries to address funding gaps. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye.
And that concludes Nationwide for today. We thank